I just had an absolute ball talking about rocking our midlives with Dr. Ellen. This has just been a fabulous talk and a fabulous show. I hope you all tune in and listen to her and all her other podcast episodes.
Welcome to the Rock Your Midlife podcast, your transformative sanctuary designed to guide you through self-discovery and provide the tools you need to find your purpose and navigate life authentically. Whether you want to optimize your health, boost your happiness, or deepen your self-love, this podcast is your ultimate toolkit. Welcome to Rock Your Midlife. I am thrilled that you are here today because we are talking all about reinvention. I mean, that is the thing to do at midlife, right? I mean, for so many of us, it's really all about letting go of who you're supposed to be and embracing who you are and just figuring out, my goodness, how do I create an incredible next chapter for myself? So you're going to love this amazing conversation we're going to be having with the inspiring Robin Salls. She is founder of Tangled Silver Magazine, and we are going to delve into the theme of reinvention through passion. That's just such a cool way to reinvent yourself, to actually figure out, what do I love to do? And that's really the breadcrumbs. I get this from women all the time. They're like, how do I figure out what I'm here for and what my purpose is? Follow your passion. And here's the little secret. Your passion is doing those things that you love to do. There is no one like you on the planet, and you are here for a reason. You have passion, you have purpose. And when you follow those breadcrumbs, you figured it out. And you're going to discover how age doesn't define your relevance and why embracing the pillars of ageless living can make this journey so much sweeter. Robin is going to share her insights on defining beauty and aging for yourself and breaking free from outdated notions and celebrating life at every stage. So you're going to want to grab a cup of tea, maybe pour yourself a little glass of wine, because it's going to be a lovely conversation. Let me formally introduce Robin. She is founder and CEO of Tangled Silver Magazine. She's an entrepreneur, a publisher, an author, a motivational speaker, and silver lifestyle trailblazer, which I absolutely love because, Silver Sisters are super cool. I'm happy to be part of that club. And she brings over 30 years of experience to the table, encouraging women to gather around and support one another in life and business. I feel like it's this kind of like really cool campfire that we're all hanging out at. And she's, again, CEO of Tangled Silver Magazine. She champions women to grab life by the reins, find joy, and embrace their midlife with pride. Welcome to Rock Your Midlife, Robin. Love
Oh my
having you
gosh.
here.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the title. It's Rock Your Midlife because I feel like that's exactly like my rocking life. We got to rock this thing. We got to go run with it. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And we are doing it. I have to say, I am having so much fun at 61. I have like a great man in my life. And, I live half my life on a beautiful island in Vermont and then half my life in Costa Rica. And gosh, I don't know how we got fed this pile of BS around what aging and all of it's going to be. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, this is so fun and amazing and powerful. And I'm curious about your story, like, because I know you're rocking it. You've got this. Of course, I hope you guys are seeing Robin on YouTube, and because she's got this amazing long hair and just is always. Every time I see you, Robin, your sense of style is amazing. But how did you get here? How did you? I'd love to learn a little bit about your reinvention process and how you got to be CEO of Tangled Silver Magazine.
Yeah, I would be happy to share that. So I really was at a place where I was trying to figure out what was my next thing, right? I had been doing some wine events and loving that and had created a magazine to spotlight and feature women winemakers because I didn't think they were featured enough. And that was kind of dwindling. And I was very much in my journey of embracing my silver hair and wondering kind of what was going to come next. And it was pre-COVID when I started my journey. It was COVID though that created me going, okay, I think I'm gonna launch a magazine now for silver women because we need it. There's nothing else out there. I couldn't find images of I used the word rocking. I was like, okay, I think I rock my age right now, but I couldn't find images of women in silver long hair that felt like they were rocking it. There were a few people here and there on Instagram that I followed that I loved, but like there was not a magazine specifically. You go into a hair salon, there's magazines with all these different styles, pre-COVID, obviously, with all the different hairstyles, but there was nothing for silver specifically. And that was really frustrating for me. So I hoped that if I was feeling that way, there'd be other women feeling that way. And so I just literally on a whim, going through my journey, made the announcement, I'm going to do a magazine. 6 weeks from now, I'm launching Tangle Silver Magazine. And sure enough, it came out, and there were the women that I thought there would be looking for the same thing. Show us something that makes us feel inspired to let our silver, gray, whatever you want to call it, or your natural hair shade. It doesn't even have to be silver or gray, but just, show us midlife women rocking their lives, not sitting in rocking chairs, supposed to be quiet, hiding in corners, right? Like that's not who our generation of midlife. Maybe it was several generations ahead of us. We're sitting back and rocking chairs, but like those of us now, like you're living in Costa Rica, right? You just said Costa, or is it Puerto Rico?
Costa Rica. Yeah,
Costa Rica.
we're in a little bikini in Costa Rica. Yeah. Going
Yeah, I
out
mean,
there and just it's amazing. And I think the cool thing is so many women let their hair go to their natural color and they're just amazed at like how much they love it. Like you
yeah,
get these natural highlights, you don't have to like spend all that money and time and get all those toxic chemicals. We're not here to say like either way is totally fine with us. We're here to
right,
empower you to be
right.
beautiful in your own skin, but if you're kind of like curious and sort of tired of the process and the money and the
Yeah,
energy that goes into that, we're here to say we support you. I mean, I think the growing out process is a bit of a bitch. Mine wasn't
it
too bad
is.
because I've got curly hair. I did it actually twice, which was crazy. But I did it once and then I was launching a brand and my ex-husband was like, you've got to look like your 40-year-old self. And so I colored it and then I had to do it all over again. But let's talk about what does reinvention through passion look like?
Oh my gosh. So for me, it was really like, you hear everybody says if you're doing something that you love, it's not work, right? But I think so many of us don't know how to take that thing that we're passionate about or love and take it to the next step and turn it into a business. Like for instance, I love salsa dancing. I am not a dance instructor, so turning salsa dancing into a business for me was not on the agenda, right? But I knew what skills I had. I love to write. I have an eye for how placement, how I want things to look. And I was super passionate about the changes I was going through and feeling this like it started with just a hair choice color, but it became so much more because all of a sudden I stopped giving what anybody thought. Like my hair, my choice to let my hair go silver or gray, whatever you want to call it, was not hurting anybody else. But yet it was funny the changes that came about that. So suddenly I felt this freedom. And I used to think I felt freedom in my 30s and 40s, but there was just this new kind of in my own skin. You know what? I get to define beauty for myself. And in my case, it was letting my natural shade come in. It's not wearing a lot of makeup, but I have no problem with anybody that colors, Botox. Like my thing was we really need to, at this point in the game, define beauty and aging for ourselves. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever it looks like me, it may be completely different, but there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just embracing it for yourself.
Yeah, and it's not about turning back the clock. And I know I want to talk a
No,
little bit about
no.
terminology because you don't like anti-aging and pro-aging. And
Yes.
you like the word ageless. So tell us a little bit about what it is about that idea about ageless that turns you on.
Yeah, yeah. I just had a great conversation before we jumped on about ageless because the woman I was speaking with, she actually was giving me the definition via Webster Dictionary. And if you hear that, it kind of like ageless can be a kind of a triggering word. I don't look at it in terms of trying to stay young or youthful. For me, ageless is I looked at both the terms anti-aging and pro-aging and the battle between the people that want to use one or the other. And when it gets right down to the middle, the problem is everybody wants the same thing. They want to look and feel their best today because we don't get guaranteed tomorrow, right? So people that are all about I got to anti-age, I got to anti-age, I got to look my best. You got to stay your best. Pro-aging, I want to embrace as I'm growing older. I want to look my best as I'm aging. It's really not about age either way. It's really about just wanting to be our best where we're
Mm.
at today. So for me, that meant starting to use the word ageless because my age, my hair, my style do not define me. What defines me is who I am inside. And so I like to look at that as being ageless, which is why like you were on the ageless lounge as well. I love instead of throwing out words that are kind of that kind of make you associate with like if you're youthful that means you must be 30 or down, right? And if you're older or midlife you must be 40 plus. Like let's throw that out and look at the women and look at young old whoever we are, whatever age we're at. If you're embracing your life at the fullest and living fully to who you are and not trying to worry about what everybody else is telling us it's supposed to look like, especially for women that are told like, oh, you go gray, suddenly, your hair is going to fall out. You're going to lose your hair. It's it's gonna be thin and fragile. My hair is thicker than it's ever been. Out of all the years I colored, if you'd asked me if I ever would have thought my hair would be described as thick from my hairdresser, I would have laughed. My hairdresser says I have thick hair now. She's always like, I'm just astonished with your hair. I'm like, when I was colored, it was breaking all the time.
Mm.
So there's all, and that might be my DNA because I like to always tell everybody, we all have individual journeys, right? So like, yes, my hair is long right now and it's thicker, and I'm telling you it's thicker and healthier than it's ever been before. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the case for somebody else, but we don't know what we're going to get until we start being authentic to ourselves. And then you get to decide, like, if I didn't like it, I could color it back. So it was really a journey of like, I think we were talking passion. Somehow I got mixed up on some of the anti-aging talk and stuff like that. But it's like, I just feel like if we started looking at ourselves instead of by our birth dates, instead of by what we do for a living or don't do for a living, and we start looking at what are our core values, what really brings us joy, and what does the word joy mean to you? Is it like, are you going to be joyful if you lost everything tomorrow? Or like, could you still say you're a joyful person? I think that when we find that stuff, we become ageless.
I love that. And I think that what it really alludes to, and I heard a influencer talking about this yesterday, is that you get to a place in your life where it's about your soul. You start to see, I'm a soul having a human experience, and you get this beauty from within, and you get to be, one of our friends has the, wisdom is beautiful, right? That
Yes,
whole
yes,
silvering beauty, wisdom is
yes,
beautiful. And you start to say, wait a minute, we've been fed this crock of crap about how you can't be beautiful when you're older. And that's just
right,
absolutely not true. But it's this coming from within and defining yourself. And I think also realizing too that, while we want to feel beautiful, look beautiful, want to wear cute clothing, your looks aren't the most important thing about you. There's so much
exactly.
more, and it becomes like we're radiating based on what's going on inside, based on our passions, based on finding our joy. So let's talk a little bit about your 4 pillars of ageless beauty that we should lean into. What are they?
Yeah. So for me, the pillars are authentic beauty. And I don't mean that just on the outer appearance, right? I mean, finding what you consider authentic beauty for yourself. So if that is, you really believe you want to Botox and you really believe you want to color your hair red till you go to the grave, if that's what beauty means to you and that's your definition for yourself, then you should do that. That inner beauty is really looking at what you consider beautiful inside and outside and listening to your own soul speaking to you versus listening to the commercials that tell you color your gray out of your hair or you have to be young, life is for the young. Like, listen really inside and find your own inner beauty. Sorry about that. Inner radiance is another one, which is, again, it's that piece of so many times women will tell me, oh, I feel not my best. I feel like I'm kind of looking dowdy today. And I'm always like, it starts with how you talk to yourself in the mirror. If you get up in the morning, you're like, I don't like kind of, you're going to walk out that door and that energy that's it was what everybody's going to pick up on. If you look up in the mirror like, yeah, I'm smoking today. This is working for me. I'm walking. You walk out, your head's held high. It's amazing how many people will come up to you and go, oh my gosh, wow, I love your hair. Or, oh my gosh, I love that outfit. Or you've got this energy that is magnetic. People want to be around somebody who looks uplifted, who carries himself confidently and loves themselves regardless of
Mm.
what anybody else is thinking, right? So it's that inner radiance that needs to be a core piece of where you come to celebrating yourself.
Yeah, it's
And
this
then there's,
understanding. I want to just pick up on that one because I
yeah,
love that one because so much of the work that I work with women, although they don't know that that's what they need, but if you're listening, the thing that you need to do is shift your energetic vibration. I think that's what Robin's really talking about is that
mhm,
when you are on your path, when you know what your passions are, what you love to do, you're comfortable in your own skin, and you're doing the self-compassion thing, which doesn't mean that you're perfect, that you're like, okay, I mess up, things
yep,
happen, it's just life, but you've got this ability to turn towards yourself. Then your energy shifts and you feel confident. The word confidence comes from the root is confide. You trust yourself. And when you do this kind of inner work, things start to shift, and that's where you start to get that ageless beauty. So it's energy work, right? I think it's because
yes,
we are
it's
energy.
100%, 100%. The more we can lean into appreciating ourselves and not waiting for somebody else to do it before we appreciate ourselves, right? Like we shouldn't have to get attaboys from somebody else before you feel good about yourself. You should be able to just own yourself at that point. So
But
yes,
the
it's
cool thing
definitely
is
energy
then you
work.
attract other people. Like I found when I was not being myself again, when I, in my sort of 40s, 50s, just really wearing the mask, not feeling comfortable, feeling like I needed to please other
Yeah.
people, to, to feel good, to be
Yeah.
safe. And then I got divorced. I lost a lot of friends. But now that I'm myself, you start to attract. I've attracted just
Yes.
amazing, incredible women, people like yourself all over the globe. Because when you're yourself, then you're magnetic. I think that's what you're saying. You have this magnetic
Yes.
attraction. And you look in the mirror and you look yourself in the eye and you're just like, I love you. And then
Yeah.
that's a great trick. If you're listening, one thing I would love you to do is after you finish listening to the podcast, go grab a mirror, go to your bathroom, grab a mirror,
Yep.
look yourself in the eye with compassionate eyes and just say, I love and care about you. And just see if you can hold your own
Yes.
gaze for, might be a little uncomfortable, even just like 10,
Well,
15 seconds, work up to a minute, but it's so powerful when you do that work.
you know what I tell everybody when I'm doing a presentation somewhere, I always start off with getting people to say out loud with me, I am beautiful. Just own that. You know, does it feel uncomfortable with some people? Yes, maybe at that moment, if you've never told yourself you're beautiful before, yes, it can be. But if you hold that space and you start thinking of talking to yourself every day, looking in the mirror, I am beautiful. I love myself. You're right, that your energy shifts. It may not happen immediately overnight. You might be standing there going, why am I doing this? Like, but eventually again, what we tell ourselves consciously or subconsciously, if you're putting the good in there, that's what's usually going to come to you. If you're filling it with all the icky stuff, that's usually what you're drawing, right? So
Law of
I think
attraction.
yes, all of us would much rather draw the energetic, positive stuff, but we have to feed ourselves that before it's going to happen. So I think that's an important piece.
Yeah, and I think it
Um,
starts too with feeling worthy. I think there's so many, especially Gen X, that we have this wound of not feeling worthy. So if you're listening, you're worthy just because you're a human being. It's like you don't have to be or do anything to feel good. So the first one, so let's review these real quick and then we'll get to
yeah,
3 and 4.
yeah.
So the first is to do what makes you feel beautiful and good,
Yep,
to
yep.
create this kind of relationship with yourself where you have confidence and you've got inner beauty. And what's
Mhm.
3 and 4?
3 and 4. Three is the ageless attitude, and that is literally just taking the attitude that you don't have to define yourself by your age, right? There are people that are in their 80s that are rock climbing. I mean, our age does not define us. It's how we take care of ourselves, how we feed ourselves, what we say. I feel like mobility. I'm a huge person on mobility because I had to have both my hips replaced in
Wow.
2016 from genetics. That could have totally stopped me, right? I mean, full hip surgeries on both sides is a lot. But I knew that that means I have to work even harder to keep my mobility up. So like in the last 2 years, I've taken up paddleboarding and kayaking. Like people are like, you're paddleboarding and kayaking? Yeah. They're like, with both hips replacement? Yes. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, living like a rocky life. Like. So I think you have to develop an ageless attitude where you don't let your birthday define you. If somebody says to me, "Oh, I'm so old. I'm 57. I'm halfway there," and I'm like, no, 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 you're 57 years young. Like, like let's take the ageless attitude. Start looking at yourself as an ageless person versus I'm 57, I'm 20. Like our age doesn't define us. You're not relevant based on your age. Your relevancy is more based on the choices you're making today. And the number one is, again, we've talked about this supportive community. We can't do this alone. We were not born to be on an island by ourselves. We are people, energetic people that need to have people around us. And when you find the right tribe in a sense, or sisterhood, however you want to look at it, like we've said, it is an amazing because you draw the people that are supposed to be there, that are supposed to be in your life at the time, are meant to be there. And you have people that bring stories to you that like I find it like it uplifts and helps you. You hear somebody else's story and you go, oh, huh. It might ring a bell or it might ring a bell to somebody you know, but like it's the support of knowing you're not doing it alone. None of us have to go through midlife alone. None of us have to go through the menopause alone. although we were all told to keep quiet about
Yeah.
menopause for the longest time, I love that now it's being shouted from the rooftops, and even employers are
Like,
starting
you
to look
feel
at
like
it.
crap, but let's not talk about it. Just let
Right.
nature take its course. Even doctors, I have said so many clients who've their doctors have said to them, well, just let nature take its course. Let's not talk about this. That's why I love Mary Claire Haver. She's like, no, if you feel like crap, do something about it. And there
Right.
are lots of resources and people. We're here to uplift each other. So if you are struggling, you are not alone. Reach out to me, reach out to Robin. Let's talk about your community, because I know I'm super excited about the retreat that's happening on September 11th, 12th,
The
13th, right?
yes,
Let's
11,
talk about
12,
that.
13.
What are people
Oh,
going to find, and how do we connect with you so that they can join us? Because I know it's
yeah.
going to be so much fun.
It's going to be fabulous. Just so you all know, Dr. Ellen is going to be there sharing her wisdom with us all. And we have like 14 other women coming in with all sorts of different perspectives on midlife, between menopause, healthy eating, igniting our sparks, just acting in, tips and tricks to kind of help us rock our midlives. I just love that. I'm going to just keep telling that because I love that statement. It's just full of it. You're going to have interactive moments so we have speakers, but in between the speakers, I am very much a hands-on person. I like to step in and I don't want to say projects and stuff, but I love to be artistic. I love to have fun. So like, for instance, we're going to do journaling one day. We have somebody coming and talking about how the difference of journaling can make in your life when you're trying to figure out what's next. And so we will have a time where we will be led by an artist to create our own journals, and you'll bring like we're telling everybody, bring a picture or two of yourself, something that makes you feel good, but just a fun thing that you could just like, you can go to an event and you get like a notebook to take notes down, but it's just a notebook that everybody has. In this case, you're going to come out with that notebook, but you get to take the time to make it about you.
Okay, arts and
We will
crafts. I'm
be
so
doing,
excited.
yes. Just you name it, we're doing a hike. There's an amazing hike going on Friday morning. Now, if you're thinking to me, oh, I'm not a hiker, you don't have to hike. There's lots of shops to go down to because it is taking place in Estes Park, Colorado, which is the gateway into the Rocky Mountain National Park here in Colorado. So you can opt to do that. There's Lake Estes, so somebody could paddleboard. We'll have some paddle boards set up if anybody would rather do that than a hike. But there's a beautiful hike up called Gem Lake, to a little lake called Gem Lake. Although if you're by the larger lakes like Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, it's not a lake, it's more like a little pond. But in Colorado, they call it Gem Lake. But it is a beautiful hike overlooking the valleys. It's just amazing. We are going to be doing a photo shoot for the September magazine for some of the women that are there as well. It's just meant to really empower you, or maybe not empower you because you have to empower yourself, but it's there to help give you the tools to maybe help you find the way to turn your switch on to get that next spark for what comes next for you. And it's a chance for sisterhood. We're not in some big fancy hotel. We're actually in a community center, which I love. Estes Park has a beautiful community center where we are all together. So like you're going to sit at a table with Dr. Ellen. So she's not just on stage and you're like, oh, you can hear, that's great. You're going to actually get to meet Dr. Ellen. And I hope that most of us will come away with new friends. So like if you come alone, you're not going to leave alone. You heard Dr. Allen, you're not alone. And so you will not be alone at this if you're coming. Lots of interactive experiences, of wonderful speakers, beautiful Estes Park, Colorado. I love to play. I love to have fun. So there's going to be a lot of that.
It's going to be a
Um,
blast. So if you want to know about it, just go to
yes,
tangledsilvermagazine.com, correct? Tangled Silver
yes,
magazine.com. Is it
yeah,
magazine or just Tangled
magazine.
Silver?
It is
Tangledsilvermagazine.com.
tangledsilvermagazine.com.
Yeah, and look at the event and you can get the information there. You can also reach out to me at the midlifewhisperer.com. Just hit the contact button and I will send you the info. I hope you can make it because I know that I am looking forward to it. Robin, thank you so much for joining. I have gotten so many
Thank you.
kernels of wisdom. And every time we talk, you just light me up. You are such a beautiful spark. And thank you all so much for being here. Stay
Thank
tuned
you.
to the next episode of Rock Your Midlife and have a gorgeous, gorgeous day.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Rock Your Midlife podcast, your transformative sanctuary designed to guide you through self-discovery and provide the tools you need to find your purpose and navigate life authentically. Whether you want to optimize your health, boost your happiness, or deepen your self-love, this podcast is your ultimate toolkit.